It is windy today. You might be asking, why the hell would you come out on a day like this? And the truth is, I've been waiting for a day like this. We're gonna do some pesting on feral pigeons, rock doves, maybe a starling or two if one comes by. And when this wind is 20 miles an hour, gusting to 25 or 30, we'll be shooting these doves at about between 70 and 100 yards. There's going to be some serious holdover and windage in this video. If I get some birds moving around, this is going to be awesome. Alright, let's go set up shop. I got my bipod here. I'll be dropping to the ground using my bipod whenever possible, hopefully for every shot. And awesome. This is gonna be fun. Let's shoot some birds.
So right off the bat, here's the first bird of the day in real time. Okay, now let's talk about that for a second, as well as some other things. Before you go accusing me of just launching pellets into a mob of birds, all hunters know that picking out one target is necessary for actually hitting anything. As a spear fisherman, I can tell you flat out that if I fire my spear gun into a school of fish, I will miss everything 90 to 95% of the time. And if I do get lucky enough to hit something, it's not a proper hit and I'll lose the fish anyway. You have to pick out one target and you have to fire on that one target. Shooting into a mob doesn't do you any good. So in this case, I chose the dark bird on the edge right there because it was the one that I could see the best through the camera. It was also the one that was moving around the least as well. And this bird takes a direct shot to the heart, it drops, and is dead before it hits the ground. Kind of neat watching them fly away in slow motion. This is 1/8 real time. Take one more look at this shot here, and this will be in 1/16 real time, and you can really track the pellet well at this speed. And all these birds today went to the farm cats. It's the middle of winter, meat's at a low for them. They're getting by mostly on stale cat food, and I decided to give them each one bird. So that's as many birds as I shot is enough to give each cat one bird. Hard shot. Hard and long.
Wow, is it blowing? Just blowing.
And here's further evidence that I wasn't just shooting willy-nilly into a mob of birds. Here's a shot on a solo pigeon. Now, it looks like I barely nicked him, but the truth is he took a hard lung shot and went down and was dead by the time I reached him. You can see one strange thing. It looks like my crosshairs are going to fire right into that twig. That twig is about, I think, 20 yards away though, and as you can see, it hooked before it actually got to the twig. Bird takes actually quite a hard hit, as I mentioned before, and goes down right next to the top of that grain bin elevator right there. And we'll take one last look at it in 1/16 speed. And in this, you can see a slight wobble to the pellet. Now, I'm not sure if it's the high wind that does that, or if my barrel was a little dirty that day, but if they're finding their mark at 100 yards in a 20-25 mile an hour wind, I'm really not going to complain. Okay, on this one I actually forgot to switch back to slow motion from HD, so you have to watch this one in real time. Very hard heart and lung shot on this guy, and actually I think I've been able to pause it decently. You can see the pellet there, closer, and impact. You can actually see the wound right there on him as he flips over. He was dead before he hit the ground. There he is. Heart and lung shot. And here's one of my misses for the day. I actually captured 3 misses on camera, and I'll show you 2 of them. I'm going to save the 3rd one for my second video. Watch how close this pellet gets to this guy's head. He pulls it in just in time. I don't know if he did that or if that was actually after the shot passed his face, but it was pretty close. And 1/16 speed. The winds were shifting around, and as they shifted from 30 degrees to 60 degrees back and forth, it made a significant difference on how much windage I had to adjust for. And in this case, the wind was more behind me than it was in front of me, or to the side of me, excuse me. And this shot, I misjudged the windage. It actually impacted way far to the left. I missed by a mile. But watch this bird on the right. Watch him stumble and do a somersault over the top of that bar. Even when you miss, you can capture some pretty cool things on slow motion. Here, we'll watch him in 1/16 speed. So keep your eye on the pigeon to the right. Bumps the elevator, smacks the pole, goes backwards over the bar, barely gets himself over this bar, and he actually did one more flip off camera right there. Not so graceful. And this guy is just to show how hard the wind was blowing. Right as I was about to take my shot, he literally gets blown off of his bar. It was really, really gusting that day. Even the birds couldn't keep their footing. Okay, and here's the final bird for the day, the 4th bird. And I'm going to let you try to decide which bird I'm aiming at based on my reticle. It is this guy. You guess right? Now what's interesting about this, once again, well, first we'll take a look at the shot in 1/8 speed. He takes a shot to the neck, severing his spine. He's dead instantly. But something else was interesting in this video. Did you catch it? Here's a shot in 1/16 speed, and watch the bird to my target's left. It's this guy right here. He jumps way before the rest of all the birds. Now let's think about this. The speed of sound is 1125 feet per second. The average pellet speed for the entire flight was around 800 feet per second, and the distance to the target is 264 feet. That means the sound arrives in 1/4 of a second, the pellet arrives in 1/3 of a second. So the bird reacts in 1/12 of 1 second? He's like a ninja bird. Look at this guy. He's out the door before the rest of them even have their pants on. Anyway, as I mentioned, that was my 4th and final bird for the day, so the super bird gets away. And that's the end of this video, guys. Join me for part 2 when I look at the ballistic calculations that I use to help me make shots of this nature. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.